She only dreamed of peaceful motherhood and a fresh start, never suspecting that the real nightmare would begin not in the delivery room, but right after a single phone call from her mother-in-law. A new state, a long-awaited baby, and relentless harassment from those closest to her that nearly tore the family apart. Discover how one woman found herself at the center of a viral family scandal, police involvement, and lost her peace because of the scheming grandmother of her own child. This is a story about betrayal, fighting for your family, and a second chance at happiness. This is Real Talk Tales, the channel where I share real people's stories. Hello, everyone. I'm currently recovering after giving birth to our first child, and I thought that writing about all of this might help me let off some steam. For context, I'm 26 years old, my husband is 29, and we've been married for 2 years. Honestly, his mom wasn't that bad at first. Not really pleasant, but my husband said she's always like that. She treated me neutrally, not happy, not mean, not loving, but not hateful either. Everything changed when I got pregnant. That happened almost at the same time as we moved to another state. The move was unplanned. My job sent me to Washington State, so we moved. It was only after relocating that I found out I was pregnant. My husband and I were over the moon. Thanks to my new job and our savings, we decided to keep the pregnancy. We told our families after the second trimester because I have a heart condition and a few chronic problems, so the first trimester was rough. It was extremely exhausting both physically and emotionally. I was constantly afraid of losing the baby, but we got through it. The doctors became more confident, and that's when we called our families. My husband's family was thrilled. It was going to be their first grandchild. My father-in-law, who is a wonderful man, was especially happy. But for the first time, my mother-in-law voiced her actual opinion, and she didn't like it. She said, "If you knew you would have a baby, why did you move so far away?" She accused me of moving intentionally closer to my family to cut her son off from his own family. My husband explained to her that we didn't know about the pregnancy when we moved. It was just a coincidence. The FaceTime call ended earlier than planned, and the mood was ruined. My husband and I were shocked by his mother's behavior, but decided not to dwell on it. Over the following week, she bombarded us with emails and links to houses in our old state, trying to convince us to come back. My husband explained several times that we couldn't just leave for 4 days a week. We'd found a great home, and even though we didn't plan for kids, this house was perfect for us. Then my mother-in-law started sending apartment listings just to my husband. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, and wrote that he could live there and bring the baby to her while I worked. What the hell? My husband stopped that immediately, telling her that our life is here now and he's not coming back. This became especially important when it turned out the baby might inherit my heart condition. I had to go through an echocardiogram and was hospitalized for a few days for observation. It was all extremely exhausting. My husband was my rock during this time. Words can't describe how safe he made me feel. That's probably why he didn't tell me everything his mom was doing. I don't blame him. He was working, organizing our new life after the move, and under emotional stress from the pregnancy situation himself. During that time, my mother-in-law started sending baby things. Everything was for a boy, even though we said we weren't doing a gender reveal, and that's considered tacky. Plus, the stuff she sent was just awful. Overall, I was feeling better, but it looked like the baby would most likely have a heart problem like mine. Doctors said we'd only know how things stood after birth. After the baby was born, there was no reason for anxiety, but at that point, my mother-in-law started posting on Facebook that her grandchild was in danger because of my health, and blamed me for supposedly ruining the baby's life on purpose. My husband and I don't use Facebook, so we knew nothing. The day of labor came. I was overdue, But the baby wasn't in a hurry, so I was induced. People say you quickly forget the pain of labor. I sure hope so, because it was traumatic. I'll skip the details, but my husband and I were both incredibly relieved when it was over. Because I was in the hospital, she knew where I would be giving birth. When she found out I was being induced, she flew in and showed up at our home. She called my husband repeatedly, but he didn't answer because he was busy becoming a father. So she came to the hospital at 3 in the morning looking for us. Luckily, she couldn't get into our ward because we were near the NICU, which had high security. When my husband finally called her back, she started screaming that she'd missed the birth of her baby, and she would never forgive me for that. She didn't even ask about me being in the hospital. My husband was exhausted and said he'd call back later. He went to get coffee and saw her. She demanded to see the baby. When he refused, she had another meltdown, accusing me of destroying the family. She said I'd gotten pregnant on purpose when we moved just to trap us in Washington and let out everything she'd apparently thought about me all these years. My husband told her to fly home and that he'd talk to her later. We had a baby girl, and we are utterly in love with her. We bought everything ourselves, and the things my mother-in-law sent, we donated to the hospital. We stayed there for 2 weeks. During that time, my mother-in-law basically lived on Facebook. She found photos of children of other races and posted them, hinting I'd cheated. She never said it outright, but all the comments made it clear that's what people believed. When we came home, it all blew up. One of her posts went viral. She asked for advice on how to get custody of her grandchild who is being abused by the parents. Actual lawyers were commenting, giving her links. People were asking for our address so they could call Child Protective Services. They found her profile, then ours, our workplaces, my family, the family business pages. We received a lot of negativity. The police actually came to our home. I only had 4 days at home with my baby. My husband handled dealing with all this. My cousin is a paralegal and helped us file a lawsuit against her for defamation. I am simply exhausted and emotionally overwhelmed by all this. I'm in therapy, both mental and physical. My therapist suggested that writing it all out might help. I don't even know if I'll post this, or how long it'll stay up. I love my husband and my child, but everything that happened pushed me into a deep depression. I don't know why she did what she did, and I don't understand what changed in her. Viewer comments. Goosebumps. I'm so sorry this happened to you. This is beyond anything I've ever read. Your own mother-in-law doxed you. She deserves jail time and for her life to be utterly destroyed. I hope her own family turns their backs on her and she dies alone on the street. If possible, I'd recommend moving. Who knows how many other people she's given your address to? In the meantime, I strongly advise installing a security system and cameras. I'm worried someone might try to take your baby. Under no circumstances should she be allowed to see the child. She's completely unstable. She can't be trusted, even if she suddenly starts acting nice. It'll just be an act. She knows her current behavior isn't achieving anything. Congratulations on your new addition. I'm so sorry you couldn't truly enjoy this moment. Your MIL destroyed any chance of a future relationship. And that's entirely her fault. Maybe the reason for your MIL's behavior is emotional immaturity, or even jealousy over losing her son. She isn't ready to accept the new reality and uses manipulation to regain control. From this story, each of us can learn a valuable lesson about how important it is to protect our boundaries, even when it comes to close relatives. Sometimes those who are supposed to support us can cause us the most pain. And in those moments, mutual support in relationships and open communication with your partner become especially important. We shouldn't be afraid to seek help or to protect our family from toxic behavior, even if it's difficult. Ultimately, this story reminds us that our mental and emotional health is just as important as our physical health, and we need to take care of ourselves even when the world around us feels hostile. Thank you for watching this incredible story with us. If it was interesting or valuable to you, like and subscribe to the channel so as not to miss the next stories.